I mean, the ultimate thing is that he didn't submit the application on time. And if you don't get competent people around you to do these things, and after that you are angry about it, and then you cry foul and censorship, all that, then I think that's on him lah.
And I mean, there's that famous story of what, Mad Men, the guy had a script for 7 years.
Yeah.
Squid Game, the guy had a concept for 9 years, because everywhere there is a dance lah. And I think even you ask the biggest pop stars in the world, can they really sing about anything? I don't think so lah.
You hosted them for the World Aquatics Championships, which was like 100 over countries coming together and the Tarman opening ceremony, everything. And then it ends with like, okay, we arrested 2 of the swimmers.
But I mean, if they really did do something bad, then we should arrest them.
I've always wondered, like, those people who shoplift at the airport and all that, like,
why?
Why? Yeah.
If
You're just about to leave. Yeah.
So many other places in Singapore to shoplift. Like, why?
Time is running out. This is your final chance to nominate a loved one to be part of a very special 𝗪𝗲 project that we're doing. Singapore is celebrating its 60th birthday, and Folklories, our audio service, is marking this milestone in a very special way. We'll be interviewing 60 Singaporean seniors over 60 years old to capture their life stories for our Words of Wisdom project. But interview spots are disappearing fast. Your parent, grandparent, or that wise uncle could miss their place in history if you don't act now. Here's the best part. It's a heartfelt one-on-one interview done remotely. No travel, just their life story recorded from home. Nominate them right now at the link in the show notes. And don't forget, the first interviews are already live. Hear them now at the same link. But hurry, we're closing nominations soon. And now, on to the podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 𝗖𝗲 your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor. How was the weekend, man?
Yeah, pretty intense weekend.
Why?
I think just like a lot of like family activities. I went to this hipster market organized by a wet market supplier.
Wet market?
Yeah, 𝗪𝗪𝗃. 𝗪𝗪𝗃 supplies. Then it was all the way in like Upper Thomson side. They had like an event where a lot of people were, there were pop-up stores selling all sorts of different things like, their own version of 𝗬𝗵𝗀 and curry buns and everything. And there were ponies at the event. So quite cool.
But why is the wet market, like, is it selling wet market stuff?
Yeah, so I think we've entered this stage where the cool young people, nowadays, they've taken over their grandfathers or parents' businesses. And so I think this is like a third generation, that owner of a business that supplies fish to the wet market or something like that. And so now they've done up their place really nicely. They collaborate a lot with local brands. They have like pop-up market in the industrial area.
It's not at a wet market.
No, it's not. But it's like a brand that started out at the wet market.
Oh, that's cool. Because our generation, I think you say you're taking over your like a business, parents' business like this. Like, maybe you cannot find a job or something. Whereas now it's like cool.
Yeah. And then it's very deliberate, like the collaborations that they do with people and everything. There's a real style to it, And they make the event very fun, and then they have ponies and everything for children. It's dog friendly. So the typical profile of a person there got tattoos, got a dog, and then like very hip, very cool. That kind
Sounds
of thing.
Exactly like you, Terrence.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm there.
Your invisible tattoos. Just flexing your invisible tattoos.
But you didn't hear of it at all, right?
I did.
Yeah, that's how cool it is.
Yeah.
It's so cool that regular the normies haven't heard of it.
I mean, I heard of some other festivals. There was Water Bomb. There was some outdoor festival.
And that one's very commercial, right?
Commercial. So this one's too cool. Too cool.
It's too cool.
Too cool in the industrial area.
I didn't even know about it. My wife told me, I was like, I thought we were going to a wet market. I really thought we were like going to buy fish or something like that. Then I went there, I was like, what is this?
So it's cool. It's cool.
Cool. I got photo booths and all these like Singaporean knickknacks
overpriced stuff.
So I was saying Singaporean knickknacks like little, those orange public telephones that they used to have. They make little keychains of it, t-shirts, oversized t-shirts, things like that.
But the pricing?
Pricing is, what you would expect from like slightly hipster stuff.
I see. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Then the rain didn't cream the style.
Not this weekend, not the weekend. Today the rain's crazy, but the weekend was okay.
Oh, okay. I see.
Your weekend?
This week is my kid's first birthday.
Oh, yes.
So this weekend was like, sweet lah. Like my some family stuff was organized. Some we weren't even aware. Then when we met up, we're like, hey, shit, this is for me lah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So sweet lah. Of course, when I have family stuff, got some drama, but that's part of family lah, But I just thought, it was like, oh shit. And you know me, I've never been a birthday person. I think over the years, and thanks to people like you and others, I've come to appreciate that birthdays are about coming people together. People coming together.
Yeah.
People coming. So I'm not the Grinch anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like,
so
it is cool.
The celebration was this weekend with family.
Family. Then this Wednesday, me and my wife just doing something. Then this weekend, something with friends.
Yeah.
Who have kids and all. Yeah, so okay lah.
So you had to be dragged out a bit to
Hey,
be part of these celebrations.
I was very hands-on. And it's fun lah. And like for some, I don't know, I guess this happens with kids. Like 3 weeks ago, like she was a bit like clingy, like not being okay with strangers. Now she's okay. All of a sudden, and it's awesome. Like my wife and I were just walking yesterday, and her sister was carrying the baby, and I was like, when was the last time two of us could walk without having to carry the baby?
Yeah.
So lah. So okay lah. But preparing for another change coming soon lah. It's always like that, right?
What's the next change?
It's always a change lah. Every time you think you got a routine going one way, and boom, it changes again.
Yeah. But I mean, the birthday thing is like it's an industry in itself. Right?
Yeah.
It's an arms race.
Yeah.
You're going to start attending a lot of kids' birthdays.
So that's why, I mean, like the birthday we're having this Saturday is a picnic.
Yeah.
It's like no venues. Just keep it chill, man. Keep it chill. We're trying to fight the race for commercial stuff.
Yeah, wait and see. Once your child has an opinion also, then
no. This is probably the most effort we're going to spend time on a birthday.
Famous.
The rest will be no. I will fight it. I think my wife will fight it also. But so okay lah. Okay, cool.
Nice.
Busy weekend.
Yeah.
Cool.
Family.
Cool.
Very family weekend.
Yeah, very family weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it's a busy weekend for some government agencies as well.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, which we will talk about.
Yeah.
But before we do all that, what do we want to tell people?
It is that if you are new to the podcast and you enjoy this podcast, it'd be great if you could, follow us on social media as well. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, Telegram. We have a newsletter called Your Little Bit where we consolidate all our One Shiok Things from the week and send it out on an email every Thursday, which you can sign up for at 𝗟𝗏𝗏.com. And what else, Terrence?
If you want to work with us, please email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com or just check out ministryoffunny.com.
Sweet, man.
Yeah.
All right. First topic, which has been brewing for a while. Brewing for a while.
I'm glad we didn't talk about it last time because now there are all these new developments. Right?
Yeah. It is the latest, I guess, development in the controversy surrounding How do you pronounce his last name? Obiid?
Obiid.
Censorship Obiid, a US comedian whose show has been cancelled in Singapore, whose upcoming show, which was meant to be this past weekend, on August 31st, 30th? 31st. It's been cancelled, that he cancelled because he did not get the relevant permit. And it all started, I think, on 27th August when he put out an Instagram post with a series of, those captions on a slide. He kind of gave context as to why he had to cancel the show. And it sounded like a case of him being censored for jokes about Palestine and Israel. And certain call to actions that were in the script. And he talked about how he knew that coming to Singapore, you have to work within the confines. He knew that Singapore is strict. He tried his best. He even felt like he compromised some of his own values, which now he looks back, maybe he shouldn't have, because at the end of the day, it resulted in his application being rejected and him having to cancel a show which apparently had like more than 1,000 tickets sold already. But since then, literally yesterday morning, Edwin Tong, the new Minister of Law and Minister of State for Digital Development and Information, had a doorstop interview where he clarified that a lot of the things that Mr. Obiid has said is actually false. And he gave IMDA's own version of the timelines and said that they might even consider taking action on these false claims. Which you can imagine will be pofma lah. But before we dive into the details, Terrence, what did you make of this whole kerfuffle?
I first heard of it actually on Professor Wadid's Instagram. I think he was slated to go for his show. He had bought tickets. And then this cancellation happened. And then I think that was when I started to get into the weeds of it a little bit. But it does sound like, I mean, 𝗬𝗵𝗶, if you watch his stuff, it's definitely a very pro-Palestine crowd, right? So this one I knew would be like a lightning rod, basically, when the news first broke. But how do you first come across this?
Similarly, I think some people posted it on our 𝗪𝗓𝗏 Reddit. I had seen chatter about the show being cancelled. I mean, admittedly, I have not watched a lot of his stuff before this whole thing blew up.
Yeah.
And then when there was a doorstop interview by Edwin Tong where he said, with so much conviction that IMDA did not ask for, things to be removed and why it was ultimately cancelled. It felt like, okay, now we have his side, now we have the official side. Right now, it feels like there's some gaps of info because things don't really add up. So,
I mean, have you actually watched any of his stuff on YouTube? His jokes? Like, he actually was on Conan in 2013.
Yeah.
That was like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
That means he must have been doing something pretty well, even at a younger age already.
Yeah.
And what do you think of his stuff when you saw it?
I mean, smart. Like, it's very clear that he's vocal about things he feels he wants to cover. And I mean, his own ancestry, he is Lebanese, Palestinian, Syrian, Italian, American. So very mixed heritage.
Yeah.
But I mean, I thought it was kind of nice. It's like a lot of wordplay, but he definitely cares about the issue in Palestine and Gaza and all that.
Yeah. I thought he was pretty funny in that 2013 clip on Conan, which you can find on YouTube now.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty funny. The interesting thing is that I felt he didn't immediately identify as like Palestinian American and all that, right? He calls himself Lebanese American first. And then but he did talk a little bit about Palestine and all that. But I felt it was much more from a point of like, okay, I'm a minority talking about global issues, right? So it wasn't so pointed in who he was criticizing. But you watch his more recent stuff that's on Instagram and all. Yeah, then it's much more like, okay, this one is like a lot of jokes about Israel and all that as well.
Yeah,
much more pointed, right?
Yeah,
and I think he himself says that he sort of came out as a Palestinian or Palestinian American in more recent years. So, yeah, you can see that this comedian has like, he's pretty funny and everything has, his stance has probably become, a bit stronger over the years, if anything. But still quite funny. Quite funny. Even the more recent stuff, I found it funny. It's very funny wordplay, right? And a lot of times wordplay is frowned upon like by the most purist of comedians and stuff like that, right? But he's like, he does it and he's not shy about it, whether it's like funny or not funny.
And I mean, if it's funny, it's funny,
Yeah.
You can shy about wordplay and all low-hanging fruit, but if it's funny, it's funny.
No, he pokes fun at it himself. I think he has some joke about like police and Sting or something like that. And he said, that joke would have killed in the 80s, everyone's laughing like, I
see.
So yeah, I mean, I think it would have been an interesting performance.
Yeah. So I mean, if we go into the details, right, let me just like swipe through his Instagram post on 27th August. So basically, let's see. Come on, Instagram. Don't do this to me now. Yes. Okay. So let's see. Dearest friends in Singapore, it's with great disappointment that I have to tell you that my show this Sunday is being cancelled. So he explained. So basically, he gave context. Putting up a show in Singapore is difficult. He chose to work with experienced people who know how to do it correctly. Hours of paperwork, licenses, submitting his script in air quotes for approval. He normally writes jokes that he performs jokes that he writes quite recently. He wanted to put on a show for fans in Singapore. He knew that it was going to be tricky if the set he had, which was entirely focused on what is happening in Gaza, he knew that might be tricky. So he kind of toned it down and only put in a few jokes. And then he said he received feedback from the producers about how to make the best submission. He was explicitly told to fully censor the script for two reasons: to establish the upper bound of what the authorities would tolerate, and if the script was surprisingly clean and clear, the officials might come for the show, which would be tricky. So he submitted what he calls a heavily censored script, which only referenced Palestine a few times. waiting for weeks. The script was rejected. And he was told to completely remove all mentions of Palestine and Israel and to remove the 2 calls to action that he had buried in the jokes to keep speaking out about what's going on. And then he feels he caved, and then he ultimately got rejected. And they told him 5 days before the show. And then he said, he feels very disappointed. And he said that they came back with there's not enough time for another revision and resubmission because he was willing to even take out some of the jokes, and he got a final no, we will not issue a permit 5 days before the show. So that was his post on 27th August. And then after that, there was that statement, and then there was another post where he's refuting the claims that Singapore says about him being a liar. So that's his side. And I think that was when it started blowing up.
Yeah.
But IMDA, they basically came back and said that the main reason it was rejected was because it was submitted late on August 15th, 10 working days before the show on August 31st. They said that they did not request any edits to be made to the script. They even laid out a timeline. So basically, apparently, 8th July, Mr. 𝗍𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗍𝗵𝗂 PA emailed IMDA to inquire about the process to get an arts entertainment license. 9th July, IMDA replied with the details. 15th August, IMDA received the application. So almost a month later. 19th August, IMDA informed them that the application was rejected because it was late. 20th August, they received appeal. 25th, they reiterated that the appeal is rejected. So those are the hard facts. Outside of that, what else stood out to you, or what else is of note?
I think it's pretty funny that the IMDA statement, actually on Instagram, it's it's on Instagram, right? You go to the IMDA page, the statements on Instagram, and I feel like they, the way they spaced out the text or so,
influencer
that, very dramatic, this is fiction, and its own paragraph. Mr. Obi implied there was back and forth exchange of IMDA resulting in multiple changes to the script. Then big space, this is fiction. Then big space, IMDA had no underlined discussions in Mr. Obi's office or his local reps about his script or his content. So I was like, wow, IMDA next level already. And they know how to influence already. But yeah, wow, busy period for a lot of agencies. MOE, FAS, IMDA all got timeline
template. They're probably like, hey bro, can pass me your timeline template or not?
Yeah. Watch ChatGPT.
It feels like horizontal. Brief all the ministries. If any got any complaints, right? First thing, timeline.
Yeah.
Okay, repeat after me. First thing, what? Timeline.
Yeah. But I mean, when you were going through that original post from 𝗍𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗍𝗵𝗂, I remember going through that as well.
Yeah.
When it first came out and all that, right? And I did feel like a little strange.
Why?
And I say that only because we ourselves recently also were part of a large comedy show in Singapore, right? With at a few 100+ seater or 1,000 seater capital. And yeah, even that show we weren't involved in the admin side of things, but we caught a glimpse of the processes involved, right? And for the most part, actually, our experience was that it was quite smooth. Right? We had a lot of jokes. And those of you who were lucky enough to go to the show, that we didn't pull back our punches or so about some of these jokes about politics and politicians and all. But yeah, generally the process was quite smooth, and I mean, would you say that we had to self-censor a lot throughout the whole process?
No lah. I don't think we did. I think. But I will also say that when scripting, or at least when I was thinking about the jokes, it did have in mind, okay, if we want to get this in some way approved, there are certain things that we work within. But not to make it seem like, wow, the boundaries are damn narrow. It's a very wide sandbox to play in, which I was quite surprised. Yeah. Because some of the jokes, even when it got through, I was like, they're okay with this. They're okay with this. So yeah, there are boundaries. But I mean, when I was watching it, Like
Watching what, sorry?
Because he also came up with video evidence of like a call that
The more recent one.
The more recent one.
But the first one, the first time you heard it, all that, like,
the first time I was looking through the post, I was like, okay, I can imagine this happening. Like being asked to revise the script, being asked to remove stuff. I can imagine it happening because we know for a fact certain books or certain plays are cancelled or banned because of the content.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like when we were doing Help, the 𝗪𝗶𝘀𝗍 party, right next door at the Funan Center, Wild Rice had the reading of a play banned by the IMDA.
Yeah.
And very explicitly, it was like because the content is not
kosher.
Not kosher. Basically, it glamorized drug abuse.
Yeah.
So they were very explicit about it. And I think even while we were preparing for our show, that there was a lot of discussions about that, like, oh, how does this work and all.
Yeah.
So I was, my thought was that, if IMDA wants to just lay the smackdown on your content, they will just lay the smackdown on your content. Yeah. They don't have to, do it surreptitiously behind the scenes and everything, right?
Yeah.
They can find they will be able to find a reason to want to, put limits on your content.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be shy about it because that's their role as the regulators.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit, this one sounded to me like there seemed to be a lot of things going on behind the scenes that wasn't made public and all. But which I was quite surprised at if that was really the case.
Yeah, because I mean, like, and don't get us wrong. I think I speak on behalf of both of us saying that sometimes the restrictions are nuts. Sometimes the things that get banned, even we feel like, hey, come on, like, what the fuck? It's just a dramatic reading, But the thing is, the unfortunate thing about performing in Singapore is there are processes in place. And I mean, this is from our own experience, from speaking to people in the scene, that 40-day thing, it is a known thing. I think Sammy did mention that when he spoke, or it was mentioned in one of the articles that when speaking to people who got like late scripts submitted, there have been exceptions that have been made. I believe it. I'll find that later. But basically, like right now, I mean, it feels okay. So in terms of facts wise, those are the two differing accounts. Sammy did say that the person he was working with was a producer. Of course, IMDA went the extra mile to say that this producer has submitted 4 late submissions since May 2024.
Yeah.
But in the video that Sammy played, there is a voice, and I mean, online people are saying, hey, how come it's a male voice when the producer is quoted as female in the post? I think they altered the voice
really?
just to hide it. Because certain parts you can hear the fluctuations in the voice tone. And I mean, to protect. So, but there was no mention whether I don't think that's the government agency. And I think, like, one of the things, it might just be an overlap of both accounts in the sense that, yes, they submitted it late, which IMDA is claiming, but the person that is dealing with Sammy, maybe for them, okay, we submitted it late, let's try and appeal, and maybe to aid the appeal, let's tone down the points of contention. Like going back to what I said, when we were scripting for Help, and when we had to change certain things, I think we also discussed, okay, if you want to change this fully, like 2 days before the show, it's not going to be possible.
Yeah.
But if we need to tweak a bit here and there, so the joke is the same, but the punchline a bit different, that one, there's a higher chance you'll get approved, so we go with that.
Yeah.
So there is that kind of thing to play. So I think both those things could be happening. The thing is now, of course, like, I think his post has 50,000 likes, and the comments, a lot of them are like, I'm thinking of moving to Singapore, but this is horrible and all that. You can disagree with the law, but in this case, it feels like IMDA, like what you say, if you want to lay the smackdown on the content, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be scared to say it explicitly.
Yeah, they don't have to be shy about it.
Yeah.
And the thing is that it's not that Singapore is completely averse to, any kind of content talking about Gaza or anything like that, right? I mean, there was the Palestinian Film Festival that was held in Singapore. The Gaza monologues was performed in Singapore also, right? Or it was presented in Singapore, right? So it's not that these things have been, pushed aside or swept under the carpet or anything, right? And I think you and I, when we watch his show and his jokes and all, actually they're quite funny and it's nothing. In fact, I don't even think it's like anything so alarming that you would need to step in and shut him up, because he is, after all, by ethnicity also Palestinian American, so he's allowed to. I mean, he can make jokes about that,
and you do see some comedians who say stuff that they think is funny just because it's like like a 𝗏𝗃 joke, which is not a funny joke. The whole Jocelyn Chia thing, right? But there gets a lot of plaudits for saying stuff that's edgy, but it's not funny.
Yeah.
And as a role of a comedian, in my opinion, you fail. Whereas this guy's stuff is funny.
It's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why. Even when I first heard of it, I was like, kind of strange. But then hearing the IMDA response and then seeing his videos about it, then it starts to be a bit clearer, right? That there was already from the very start, during the very, very start of the application, it was already late, right? And we can make our noise about how draconian some of these rules are and all. But it's a dance, right? It's a dance that all performers have to make with the local authorities. And no matter whether you're in Singapore or Dubai or any other place in the world, there's this dance that you have to make, right? Even the US now also is not exactly the friendliest place for foreigners to do whatever they want to do, right? So it's just part of the rules, and I feel like, okay, I mean, if what IMDA has put out is the truth, then it's also quite selective presentation of the truth by 𝗏𝗏, right? Like, you don't hear the context outside of this call. You don't even know who this conversation is with exactly, right?
Yeah.
And whether it's like what you said, the producer sort of trying to self-censor a little bit, so to try and push through or appeal to push through the application, which by right, IMDA totally has the right to just reject the application already,
And
so it's just putting IMDA in quite a bad light in that way.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think we've been fans of a lot of things Tong has done in the past.
Yeah.
But in this case, of course, hearing him at a doorstop interview is always like, it's just the paternalistic law clamping down. But in this case, it's as much as I was hoping for stuff to, side with the comedian, the artist, in this case, it's tough. And I mean, to echo like what you said about the dance, right? I think before I got into this industry, I used to think, like the producers and the directors and the screenwriters who make these amazing movies, because they don't have to fight the obstacles of selling your dream, your vision. But everyone we have met, everyone we've tried to study, even Christopher Nolan and all those people, every step of the way, there are people pushing back. And I mean, there's that famous story of what Mad Men the guy had a script for 7 years. Squid Game, the guy had a concept for 9 years, because everywhere there is a dance . And I think even you ask the biggest pop stars in the world, can they really sing about anything? I don't think so . And that whole thing about free speech and all, I think this is where it gets tricky because of the nature of the topic. Even if you go on Reddit, right? I mean, we've had one listener kind of say that, they wanted to share their thoughts on our Reddit, but it's so polarizing. Like, you show support for 𝗏𝗏, you are anti-Zionist, anti-Semitic. If you don't show support, you are genocide enabler.
Yeah.
And that's where it feels like just look at the facts. In this case, it's hard to just say that it is purely because of the content, because there is a lot of he says, she says, but when you look at the facts that are undeniable, or at least they seem like there's evidence, it's hard to kind of side with the comedian .
Yeah. And I mean, the one slide in his early post in 2017, saying, I was well aware the government was unlikely to approve my current set. And then it's almost entirely focused on ongoing genocide in Gaza, of which most governments in the world, if not all, are largely complicit. It kind of tells you like the angle that he's coming in. If he's in negotiations with IMDA or trying to get them, there's the angle that he's coming in. He's already seeing himself as like almost like a victim to be censored already, you know. And I think that's the part where.
But that was after he got censored, right? So he is a. Okay, so can't confirm that he's a victim of censorship. Like, he got his show cancelled.
No. I mean, this is implying that the government is the one that is pulling the strings, complicit in this and all this, right? So my point is that if this is already him going. This is the approach, or at least the mentality that he's going into these conversations, right? That the rejection's entirely because of his set, because of his jokes about Gaza and everything. that's where I feel like, there are some angry comments and online who say like, don't use Singapore as a punching bag, right? To use it to help you virtue signal about something, right?
Oh, there are comments.
Yeah, there are comments where Singapore is just being taken for a ride, and the show got cancelled. He's got there's no skin in the game here like in Singapore. So if he just uses Singapore to sort of beef up his own resume in terms of like, yeah, you go Sammy kind of thing, then it's kind of disingenuous, right?
But then, I mean, like, do you fault him for kind of like making his post? I mean, okay, certain things, certain parts of the truth or like what happened, it feels like, okay, there's more context that's needed.
Yeah.
When I look at his post and all, I'm like, okay, it sucks for him. Maybe he isn't aware of how stringent things really are in Singapore. Because, I mean, from speaking anecdotally to performers and all, they do try their best to adhere to the 40-day mark because every show you go into it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is, or at least we have heard that the process is started, but it is a process. It's not like a very binary thing. But this one, it does seem like it was started late. And, there was one statement which when I first read on the Straits Times, that 𝗪𝗓𝗍 or Edwin Tong or basically the stance is it is unclear why 𝘬𝗍𝗶𝗀 had submitted a script when stand-up comedy performances are categorized as unscripted under 𝗪𝗓𝗍's framework. I mean, from watching comedians performances from our own involvement, like a script being submitted, I've often heard it as part of the process. But again, like just from speaking to people with experience and all, what I get is that the script being submitted is almost a way they are deciding to approach the application.
Yeah.
Rather than give something vague where there might be some shit that happens. Let's say someone from the authorities comes for the show and you're like, hey, I did not get this from your script, from your concept. What they do is they submit a script to kind of like make it like basically the gist of what they're getting at.
Yeah.
Which feels like when we submit treatments or scripts for our TV shows, I think we submit basically to get it across the line, but bearing in mind that on the set itself, things might evolve. So that scripting, when I first read it, I was like, but that's not true. People always have to submit a script. Yeah. But when you look at the website and the form, like legitimately, if you look at the PDF form and all, a script really is not mandatory, but you might need to submit a video or something like this.
Yeah, correct.
So basically to appease and to convince. So, yeah, I mean, the argument whether this sort of laws make sense, there's a whole other argument. Do I think that we need to submit that much for arts performance? I don't think so. I don't think 40 days is required.
Yeah.
But then that's a different battle.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's definitely milking all the media and publicity there is now, right?
Yeah.
Even posting how his Wikipedia page got updated and everything.
Revisited, yeah.
I don't even think it's like he said they even got my Wikipedia revised, and he doesn't reference who they is, right? But it's almost sounding like he's saying like the regulators in Singapore got his Wikipedia page revised. And I'm like, that's the thing, he's really pushing it as they are behind the scenes doing all these things. When really the ultimate thing is that he didn't submit the application on time. He didn't work with a local representative who apprised him of all the difficulties of doing a show in Singapore, which I think us being here, we're very familiar with, right? And, if you don't get competent people around you to do these things, and after that you are angry about it and then you cry foul and censorship, all that, then I think that's on him.
Yeah. And I mean, the sad thing is yes, Singapore is fucking strict on this kind of stuff, sometimes unnecessarily strict. But when I read the comments of people who are outside Singapore reading this and all, they're like, wow, they make Singapore really seem like where people cannot do anything creative. And I just don't like that narrative being propagated. Is it as free as other countries in terms of performance or like arts? No, but I think things are changing. The fact that we're still doing this fucking podcast is because I think we feel that you can say what you want to say while the system evolves. And if the system doesn't evolve in time, then you try and do something about it.
Yeah. And he even posted a clip from Edwin Tong speaking, right? saying that, oh yeah, I mean, he did reference that, oh wow, they had a press conference about it. I think it's more of a doorstop interview, right?
Yeah.
You know, from the usual walkabout. So it's not exactly a press conference.
On Sunday.
Yeah, on Sunday. But he said that, he labeled what Edwin Tong said as that casual threat at the end, though, where Edwin Tong said further steps might be needed, right? I mean, he doesn't know that in Singapore, further steps 𝗏𝗏, right?
Yeah.
Not that it really affects him anyway, because he's not coming to Singapore already.
Yeah, actually, how would they do that? Like, they 𝗏𝗏 him.
No, they 𝗏𝗏 the platforms. They can 𝗏𝗏 the platforms.
Oh, so for Instagram or Facebook to just put a note or something.
I think they can contact him on his accounts, on Facebook, Instagram. If he doesn't comply, then Facebook will need to add a little note saying that this is not true and blah, blah, and all that. So, I mean, kudos to ST also for somehow digging up that these further steps were actually, they say ST understands this could involve the 𝗏𝗏, right? So ST somehow dug it up without having to, publish it and say outright that it is.
Wow!
So at least we know that it's not, Edwin Tong's not like planning to, do something violent to 𝗬𝗲 or whatnot, right?
Okay.
It's just 𝗏𝗏, so don't chill. It's not a casual threat. It's just, in fact, some people, there are a lot of people in Singapore who have got 𝗏𝗏 before also.
Oh, man. Yeah. So the consistent dance between arts and censorship will always be there.
But how does this make you feel as, someone operating in the comedy space in Singapore? How do you feel about something like that happening?
I don't know. I feel like all in all, it's not good for the scene, and I mean, okay, one thing to say, I think like what 𝗬𝗲 saying is that he's not a liar. I can believe him, because I think there's more context, So the thing is, I think both stories can be true, certain aspects of it. It's just there's a lot of unanswered question, like who is he talking to, and them removing the jokes. Is it a negotiation tactic to appeal, or is it direct instructions? And that's not clear. And I say that because I feel like I'm willing to say that I don't think he's trying to be like nefarious or like got fucking agenda to blindside Singapore and put shit on us. I think it happened. This is his interpretation. I think IMDA is doing something that is I agree with, and that's the thing, But overall, I don't think it's good for the scene,
Yeah, I think it's bad for the local comedians in the scene.
Yeah,
because it just brings this added scrutiny. If you are IMDA and regulator or that, you'd know that, hey, wow, this kind of thing can be pulled. Like if this person, like what you said, maybe he might not be lying, but definitely stretching of the truth in certain areas, right? Or assigning intention when it isn't there, right? That could lead to, more scrutiny, more crackdown, so to speak.
Or like 60 days now, not 40 days.
Yeah, 60 days. And we must adhere because, in black and white, it's like that already. And I mean, not saying that it wasn't before, but I'm just saying that now there's no room for your own interpretation of things already. Because now, it's become global news. Singapore, IMDA's role and everything is being scrutinized. They have to follow by the book to the T already. Yeah. So I don't think it's a good thing. I think he's done something that's not very good for the local scene in doing this. And I say this only because I think in the Malaysia scene also, we've seen a lot more crackdowns on the comedy clubs and all that, right?
Yeah.
And we've spoken to Malaysian comedians who even tell us that actually the comedy scene in Singapore is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's like they're very happy. They're very happy to come here and perform to Singapore crowds, and in spite of all these regulations and all that,
Singaporean dollars or more.
Singaporean dollar, 3.3, everything, a lot of jokes about that. But yeah, they tell us that they're very happy to come here and perform because, our scene is, sounds crazy to say, but maybe even more open than up north, right?
More liberal.
Yeah. So it's like, that's the thing. Then now I think this guy comes here and he doesn't, like I say, he's got no skin in the game here, but he's just basically putting IMDA on blast and putting IMDA in a defensive mode, and it's not good for everyone else in the industry here, who has to operate out here.
Yeah. And I think IMDA disabled comments on the post. So again, it is because it's such a polarizing issue, it's tough to even have an objective conversation about it.
Yeah, correct. But
yeah.
That's the thing.
Sure.
Foreigner who hasn't even come to our shores and making a mess of things. But there are foreigners who have come to our shores, literally, swam in our shore, along our shorelines and everything, right? Or in our waters, and done stuff to mess things up, But they get a get out of jail free card,
Yeah.
And who are these people?
These are two Italian female swimmers who were let off with a warning after being caught for suspected shoplifting at Changi Airport. So Chiara Tarantino and Benedetta Pilato, 22 and 20 respectively, they were boarding their flight to Italy on August 14th, but then they were caught by surveillance cameras taking perfumes from a store without paying, and they were apprehended by the police. So after many hours of questioning, investigations and all, I don't know why they had to include this detail, including a strip search. They found that one of the swimmers, Tarantino, had placed the products in Pilato's suitcase. So they were taken to a hotel. Then the Italian embassy intervened, and they were allowed to leave Singapore on August 18th after being issued a warning and a repatriation document because their passports were confiscated. So Italian Swimming Federation confirmed on August 29th that it had occurred and that it required the intervention of the embassy, but it was during a vacation period. So they said they condemned the incident and will evaluate the matter carefully.
Yeah.
So, I mean, since then, there's been a lot of chatter about how come shoplifting can get stern warning? Because they ang mo, because the embassy step in. Is that fair? But what do you think? What made you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who are talking about other foreigners who come to Singapore and do the same thing. They go Changi Airport and they shoplift and everything. I think they are prosecuted to the full extent of the law, right? I've read about a number of cases of people doing that. I think this one is especially prominent because the World Aquatics Championships just concluded in Singapore not too long ago.
Yeah.
And it was a big event for Singapore, like one of our 𝗪𝗲 signature events. It's the largest swimming competition outside of the Olympics, right? And so all the participants that come here, it's all supposed to be a very happy, kumbaya kind of like a happy occasion for everybody involved. So this one's kind of like you would not expect something like that to happen, right? Where they get apprehended for committing crime in Singapore, especially to such young swimmers also.
And did she win any?
The 20-year-old won a bronze.
Won a bronze.
Yeah,
she's like a world-class swimmer.
World-class swimmer. The other Tarantino, I think the previous edition, she won a gold medal or something. And so they are very decorated swimmers, both of them.
Yeah, and August 3rd was when the competition ended. So they went to Bali with two other teammates before a scheduled return to Italy via flight from Singapore. And that's what the embassy said. They were on vacation. But the younger one, Benedetta Pilato, actually went on Instagram and gave her side of the story. Basically, what she said was that it was very trying time. What she alleges is that her teammate, Tarantino, put the perfumes into her suitcase without her knowing. So she said the reason why she got a chance to leave was that she collaborated with the authorities.
Did she say about that fact about putting it in her suitcase? Without her knowing?
Actually, she didn't say it. She said I was indirectly involved in an unfortunate incident being handled by the Singapore Airport Authority. The thing about the being put in the suitcase was the articles.
That's from the article.
Yeah, so she just said indirectly involved. Just involuntary. So then she said, I never intended to commit inappropriate gestures. But apparently, now the comments are not allowed, but apparently the comments were even from Italians who were shitting on her. And saying you go to another country, you do this. But I think the thing for me that stood out, I was like, actually, how does diplomatic intervention even work? Because, the most famous high-profile case was Michael Fay. There's one of the famous profile cases where there was intervention, and apparently his charges were reduced.
They reduced the number of strokes of the
number of strokes, but not to remove the strokes.
No,
so in some way, the diplomacy did intervene.
It did.
But in this case, the fact that they intervened and then they were let out, some people are pointing it to other cases where it felt like the offense was not too big, but then they kena huge fine and all. I don't think we should do that because it's not apples to apples comparison.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That one, again, it'll be a discussion about the law. But in this case, like you think it's fair, no?
I mean, you don't know the full extent of everything that happened now, but I think just one part about her statement, the Pilato statement, that I think worth highlighting is she said, "From this experience, I learned great lessons about prudence, individual responsibility, and the value of the people around me." So I think she's explicitly saying that, there's something about the people around her, right? Hint, hint, wink, wink. But yeah, it could have been a case where, like what you were saying, where it was someone who put it in her bag without her knowing, right? And so she becomes implicated in this case, which is very messy.
Yeah. But so both of them will go back, right?
Both of them got to go back, yeah. So the embassy intervened on their behalf. But I'm just saying that the case might be, might not be the two of them that are involved directly like that, right? It might be one was indirectly involved, if anything. But yeah, the whole embassy intervention thing, I think that it does raise questions because we've all heard of the word diplomatic immunity, right? And it's not just in Singapore, but in a lot of other countries also, where even Singaporean diplomats who have committed, allegedly been arrested for allegedly committing crimes, have been allowed to, not get arrested and to leave the country, right?
Was it the guy who took the MFA back or something?
No, the more recent one was there was this MFA officer in Japan who was caught taking photos of people in the onsen.
Oh, so not the diplomatic bag. It was the
bag.
Oh yeah,
the diplomatic bag. He went. He got charged.
He was taking pictures of the onset. Oh yeah,
they were taking pictures. Apparently they caught him, but they couldn't arrest him because he's got diplomatic immunity. And after that, he came back home. And I haven't followed up the case more recently, but I think the Singapore side did say that they might repatriate him they not repatriate. They might send him to actually face charges or whatever if necessary, right? But yeah, so we've all heard of diplomatic immunity that way, and it's quite powerful. I mean, people might even remember the case a long time ago of the Romanian diplomat who was in Singapore, right? Who was involved in an accident that killed somebody, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and subsequently he actually left Singapore, and I'm not sure what happened since then, right? But yeah, we've heard diplomatic immunity, but in this case, it's the embassy, stepping in for two national swimmers, right?
Yeah.
Bit different.
What
do you hear about it? What do you hear about it? That how far does diplomatic immunity extend?
I mean, like my first question was like, okay, have there been examples of diplomatic immunity, or like more examples of, like what you say, foreigners who cannot the full extent of the law? Just a simple Google search. In 2023, there were a bunch of foreign students who were involved in a conspiracy to shoplift over $1,700 worth of Uniqlo apparel, and they all kena jail. And I mean, they're students from India, and the embassy was like, too bad, too bad, don't step in. So they kena jail. Then there was an Indian tourist jail for shoplifting at Singapore's Changi Airport. This was in 2025, in June. So she kena 8 days jail. She pleaded guilty and she took a yellow purse worth over $300, placed it in a luggage trolley and left. So she kena jail. Then there were American tourists jailed for stealing luxury items, including a Louis Vuitton card holder at Changi Airport. So kena 18 days jail. So there are countries, like both from Asian countries and Western countries, that there's jail that they kena. But I think when it comes to stern warnings, I think one of the more famous examples was last year. There were the Valencia FC fans, who protested Peter Lim's involvement.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
They also were released with stern warning.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think when we cover that, we're like, okay, you're doing something illegal, but they kena stern warning.
Yeah.
So at first when I saw this, I'm like, the same thought, this kind of country, of course they get offer. But there have been examples that prove otherwise. So then it feels like this is a one-off.
Yeah.
I don't know to what extent embassies can step into local jurisdiction. I don't know.
Jurisdiction meaning what?
As in local cases, they just step in. Is that a right of all diplomatic embassies?
I don't think so. I think in general, your embassy, from what I'm reading, can help you to get legal representation and make sure that you are, and help make sure that you're not treated any worse than a local person who has committed a crime, right? They can, they can help you contact a lawyer, and who can represent you in the country, and can also help you contact your family in your country, but they will not bail you out just like that, lah. I don't think they can just waive away all whatever crimes you've committed and all. So I don't know. This could be that's why I said we don't really know the full details. This could be a combination of whether it's the airport authorities or the police or the store from which they stole from or anything, and then the embassy also sort of like just deciding, having a discussion, deciding whether stern warning is the best option for them.
And I mean, like all that, whether what they decide or not is governed by something called the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, which is an international treaty that defines a framework for consular relations between sovereign states, and of which Singapore is a signatory. So based on this, like what you said, embassy can provide legal and translation support. They can make formal representations, which is what is refers to as intervene diplomatically, to request leniency, highlight mitigating circumstances, or push for alternative outcome, which is deportation instead of prosecution. But what they cannot do is they cannot stop an arrest or prosecution. So I guess there is this framework, which I didn't know, but which we know now is known as a VCCR, that governs all this. So I guess if you ever get in trouble in overseas, you have every right to contact your embassy. And whether or not they help is their own pasal.
And I think because these are two swimmers who represented their country,
one of whom won a medal
at a very global event in Singapore. Imagine the kind of headlines that would be if two Italian swimmers arrested after attending World Aquatics Championships in Singapore. You think about it from Singapore's PR perspective also, right? How it would look. I mean, since we just talked about how Singapore looks to the rest of the world after 𝗬𝗻𝗶, how would Singapore look to the rest of the world after you hosted them for the World Aquatics Championships, which was like 100 over countries coming together and Tarman opening ceremony, everything. And then it ends with like, okay, we arrested two of the swimmers.
But I mean, if they really did do something bad, then we should arrest them.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, by the book, all these things, right? But that's where, maybe looking at the severity of their crime or where it took place, or I don't know. That's why I don't know what else transpired between them, what they said about it, and all these things, right? Like, I've always wondered, those people who shoplift at the airport and all that,
why?
Why?
If you are
just about to leave,
so many other places in Singapore to shoplift. Why?
Yeah. And the security, the airport security and everything is probably the highest. There's probably someone's tracking you at all points when you're in there.
And there's always people on duty.
There's police everywhere. There's even a freaking robot going around policing everything.
That's why you want got so many other places in Singapore that are easier. Weird.
It baffles me.
Maybe they really wanted an Italian perfume.
From before we
represent. But I guess the thing that I wasn't aware of now, which I am, is that embassies can step in, they can kind of back up a claim by an accused. But the end decision is still based on the local jurisdiction.
The local.
And even that is not binary. It's not binary.
Yeah, correct.
Sometimes even if guilty, like what you said, there are bigger considerations at play.
Yeah, correct.
So, I mean, that was, I guess, interesting. Again, another case. Singapore potentially getting a lot of bad rap.
But I mean, one thing people did point out is that, maybe this also serves as a reminder as well that, some of these places that we think about how great it is to visit, how romantic it is, all that. I mean, everyone who has been to Italy on holiday has told me anecdotally that pickpocketing is, how rampant pickpocketing is there, right? Crime and pickpocketing is there. And in a place like Singapore, we don't understand how, we're quite oblivious to how dangerous it can be anywhere else in the world, right? And maybe people who come from a culture like that and all that don't realize that in Singapore is totally different and handled differently, and how serious all these things are also, right? Not that it's an excuse. I'm just saying that maybe people who like think of like visitors from the West as more enlightened about some of these things and human rights, all that, I mean, it's a very different place, right? And there are all these stereotypes that we think about all these countries like Italy and all this. Yeah. It's a very different place. They also have their fair share of crimes and all these things to deal with.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when we were studying in the US and, we like the people there who can't drink till they are 21. Yeah. They come to a place where they can drink and it's just like, they go nuts. What the fuck? I can drink. I got my fake ID. I can drink. And then they just get shit-faced.
Yeah.
It's like you're not equipped to deal with the freedom.
And then that's why Singaporeans, we suddenly look very enlightened global citizens when we're there. That, why are you all so obsessed with drinking? Right?
It's just alcohol. It's just alcohol,
So, Singapore, we're not as global south, as they like to say. Global south, as people like to call us.
Wow. But yeah, man. Cool. That was 2 episodes done and dusted.
Yep.
What is your one Shiok thing, man?
What's your comment?
Comment?
I need to pull mine up. You have yours?
Yeah. I mean, it is a Reddit thread that has been started just 13 minutes ago from the time we are recording this. Silly in Pixels posted on 𝗪𝗲𝗏, what makes you coming back to the pod? And they go on to say there are tons of podcasts out there. What keeps you tuned in to 𝗪𝗏𝗏 every week? The topics, the banter, the relatability. And I mean, there's a few comments that have already come in within like 10 minutes, which is great. One by Mr. Wood _EDMW. Topics are wide-ranging. They are unafraid to give politically incorrect answers, unfiltered own opinions. And of course, the humor. Many other podcasts discuss serious topics and the hosts are very serious. We are not always serious. Yeah. And I appreciate that comment because that's exactly what we try to do, man.
Yeah.
Keep it light, but also go deep when we need to go deep. What about you, man?
I think the comments on Reddit about our last episode about the footballer who was dropped for choosing to focus on his exams and Jack Neo's AI video. I think the comments are quite interesting because, especially when it comes to the FAS issue, there's actually some, I can't even pronounce his name, but there's some people who pointed out that we didn't even discuss a certain thing, right? There was the inequality of treatment between, people who are taking the N and O levels in Singapore versus like, apparently some scholarship holders who are in Spain now doing their football training, right? Who are allowed to skip this overseas camp, right? And we didn't talk about that because we don't have a lot of details about what's going on in Spain and all. But people are saying that difference in treatment between someone who's taking the O and N levels versus someone who's on scholarship in Spain. Like, why is there that difference?
That was on Reddit, is it?
Yeah, on Reddit. Yeah. So, and I think I've also read that FAS, maybe it wasn't wrong, but the tone was a bit didn't have to be so petty about it.
Yeah.
That's why I've read a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
That's right.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah. What about your one Shiok thing, man?
My one Shiok thing, you have yours already?
Yeah, it is. It was an announcement that came last week that I don't think we talked about because there was no but. In fact, it was a nice but to the story. Is that 𝗪𝗏𝗏 announced that they are reversing their closure plan and they will remain in Holland Village.
Yeah.
So that was nice. I also realized last week that 𝗪𝗏𝗏 no longer has live music because the second floor is now a yoga studio.
Oh, yeah. That's what I've heard also.
Yeah. So, like what I remember being so awesome about the 𝗪𝗏𝗏 the few times I went was the live music. But the fact is that they are going to stay open. And they did say, according to their Instagram post, that 𝗪𝗏𝗏's landlord had kindly offered revised terms to make it feasible for us to stay, which is refreshing. Because now there's so much debate about how landlords are raising up rents and squeezing the businesses. In this case, I don't know who the landlord is. They might have like unlimited pockets. But the fact that they worked out something and negotiated something Okay lah, quite a nice update lah.
Yeah.
So that was my one Shiok thing. What about you, man?
Nice. Mine is for an upcoming game that I think I've shared the teaser before, but this one is like the official trailer and the release date is out October 31st on all the platforms. The game is called Terminator 2D No Fate. So it's a retro pixel-based 2D action game that is about the Terminator 2 storyline. So everything, remember from Terminator 2, Schwarzenegger, John Connor and everything, but totally in the 2D action kind of format. So this it's like the old school Nintendo or Mega Drive games that we used to play. So yeah, this one I'm really looking forward to this because I feel like this game was made for this kind of format.
What's the game called again?
Terminator 2D. So it's not 3D. It's about Terminator 2, but it's a 2D.
Oh, it's really like the throwback to the retro. Retro games. Oh, it's like Bare Knuckle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like Bare Knuckle, Golden Axe, that kind of thing.
I love Bare Knuckle, man.
But with the whole Terminator 2 storyline, and from what I understand, the developers all really try to stay faithful to.
Also, it's an independent game, is it?
Yeah, independent. It's by Bitmap Bureau Limited.
Oh, that looks cool, man.
So yeah, this is coming out on all the major game platforms soon, and looking forward to it.
Nice. All right, cool, man.
Cool.
So that's the episode for you. Remember, if you enjoyed this podcast, please just share it with someone who may not have heard of us. You can follow us on YouTube and Spotify. It helps to see our audience grow. We are on TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit as well.
Yeah.
And what else, Terrence?
If you want to work with us, email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com or just check out ministryoffunny.com.
Sweet. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to y'all very soon.